Hi, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. I wanted to recreate a video that I made a couple years ago where I did a class presentation to my GCSE class about Tourette syndrome and how it affects people in society. And since then, I've grown a lot, changed a lot's happened, and I've learnt a lot. So here's a new kind of presentation about Tourette syndrome, the main facts, the main statistics, stereotypes, everything I want to tell you about Tourette's and how it affects people in society and what you can do to help change that. Firstly, thank you for being here and clicking on this video to be open to understanding a topic that is very close to me. I'm very passionate about it, and it's a topic that's very commonly, very often misunderstood and widely overlooked. Tourette syndrome. I want to talk to you about this neurological disorder and the impact that it has on the lives of people who have it, including me. Tourette syndrome is a very, very complex condition. It's neurological, meaning it's caused by the brain. The main symptom of Tourette's are tics. These are involuntary movements and sounds, and they can range from mild to severe. And they can often be really disruptive and sometimes distressing. So there are two types of tics, motor and vocal. Motor tics are the movements. These are the twitches, the arm jerks, the facial expressions, and they can actually range anywhere from little movements, little facial twitches, jaw twitches, even eye movements, all the way to jumping up and down, hitting people, hitting yourself, or spinning in a circle. Vocal tics are the noises, grunts, whistles, animal noises, words, or even phrases and sentences in complex cases. They're all the vocal things. And as you have probably come across before, vocal tics can also be swearing. This phenomenon is called coprolalia, and it's caused by a little almond size of the brain called the amygdala. This controls aggression, fear responses, phobias, and your fight or flight response. You might be familiar with this from anxiety or panic attacks. It's a similar sort of thing, but here in Tourette's with coprolalia, we're looking at the aggression part, which causes aggressive words and phrases to be misfired as signals. Despite Tourette's being so commonly and widely portrayed as only swearing, that's the main thing we all see about it, only around 10% of the people with Tourette's actually swear. Unfortunately, I do have swearing tics, I do have coprolalia, but even then, I don't swear all the time. My most common tics are meowing, which I do all the time, making small noises, hitting myself, hitting other people sometimes, and jerking my arms or legs. Another really common tic that people have are things like tensing your stomach, curling your toes, or even things like breathing tics, which can be quite dangerous. A lot of these things you wouldn't even notice if you weren't looking for them, so they can be really, really subtle. Contrary to very common misconceptions, Tourette's isn't a psychological disorder. It isn't a result of people's emotions. Unlike anxiety tics, Tourette's isn't caused by emotions. It's a neurological condition that affects the brain and how the signals fire, or in this case, misfire. Although emotions like being happy, sad, angry, or even excited can really affect the frequency and the severity of tics in the moment, Tourette's isn't actually caused by emotions. It's believed to be partly genetic. We can't control what we tic, when we tic, what we do as a tic, or how loud we tic. We can't really control anything about it. It's completely out of our control. And often the tics actually surprise us just as much as they surprise everyone else. Fuck off. Fuck off. Wow, jeez. Tourette syndrome affects a significant amount of people, more so than people would think. According to recent statistics, around 300,000 people in the UK alone are living with Tourette's. Though this number might actually be a lot higher because Tourette's is really often underdiagnosed or misdiagnosed due to such a wide spectrum of severities and sometimes really subtle symptoms. It is so important to raise awareness about the condition so that everybody who is affected by it can receive the appropriate help, support, and understanding that we deserve. The more we talk about it, advocate for it, and get the correct facts out in the open, the easier it'll be for people like me with Tourette's to do day-to-day things like going shopping, going to concerts, being in crowds, or just being around people in society with less risk of offending somebody or having a really difficult or confrontational interaction with people. The impact of Tourette's on people's lives can be huge. It affects so many aspects of our day-to-day lives, our social interactions, our physical well-being, our mental health, and so many more things. It isn't just swearing or the occasional jerking, it really does change how people view us, how we view ourselves, and how people interact with us. It can change our lives completely, as it has done for me. Firstly, let's talk about the physical and the social challenges of people living with Tourette's. Tics are involuntary and they can be really unpredictable, making social interactions, public situations really difficult and often quite scary. It makes us feel embarrassed, isolated, anxious, left out, or even alienated. Because we're treated like we're constantly doing something wrong, like there's something wrong with us, like we're on drugs, or even like we're contagious. But as you'll hopefully know, this is not the truth. Unfortunately, tics can be misunderstood, leading to teasing, bullying, a very large buildup of stigma, and quite a general negative judgment of Tourette's. This has made it even harder for people with the condition to feel accepted or to fit in or function normally in society. It makes things really difficult. Tourette syndrome can also take a toll on school life, getting access to education and even opportunities in the workplace. Many students with Tourette's face challenges in the classroom. Our tics can interfere with concentration when we're learning. They can distract other students. And in my personal experience, it can lead to a lot of unwanted attention, name-calling, laughing at us, and even bullying. Teachers and other students might not always be aware of the condition and the correct facts around it, which leads to a lot of misunderstandings and a lack of proper support and awareness for what people with tics really need in order to function well in that setting. Going into adulthood, we encounter a whole plethora of new challenges as we try to find jobs and settle in the workplace. Whoa! Our tics make it really difficult to function in a usual job setting. For example, I could never be a waitress. Not because I don't believe in myself or because I doubt myself, purely because I physically am unable to balance a tray full of drinks and take this over to a table full of people who are expecting me to serve them and be polite to them. It's not going to happen. You can probably imagine the bad things my tics could do in that situation, the things I could say. It could very, very easily go wrong and it could actually put some of us in danger. And a situation like that would most definitely lead to me being fired. It's a very difficult thing to keep a job like that, or even to try and apply for a job like that. It's a common theme in people with Tourette's trying to maintain jobs, as we can't do a lot of the tasks that are expected in hospitality jobs, or jobs that are usual for people transitioning between education and a full-time career. Even in jobs where the tics don't directly interrupt the task that we're doing, like in that one, we also face a lot of societal misconceptions about our abilities to do normal tasks and function as normal human beings. Whoa. This can lead to our CVs or job applications being ignored or not even considered for the job due to Tourette syndrome being written on the paper. Many people with Tourette's or other disabilities might choose not even to disclose that they have a condition because they know that it might impact their chance on actually getting the job. But as you can imagine, this means that they will receive absolutely no support for their condition, no accommodations, and it will make it so difficult for them to live their lives being in that job without the help and support that they need, because they don't feel safe enough to disclose that they have something, because they are made to feel like they won't be accepted or that people will prejudge them for having this condition. People often see people with disabilities or people with Tourette syndrome as inferior or incapable of doing anything by ourselves, when it's not always the truth. No, we can't always hold knives to cut food or carry plates full of breakable glasses to tables full of people, but we're capable of so many things. Neurodivergent people are really commonly very creative. We're good at things like music, art, public speaking at times, writing, dancing, or even maths and science. We're capable of so many things, we just need a few accommodations and support and a bit more understanding to help us along the way to being successful. The emotional impact of Tourette's is also a really large struggle for people living with it. The struggle to control or suppress tics due to the fear of other people's judgment can lead to increased tics, tic attacks, stress, anxiety, and even depression. We need to recognise that the emotional well-being of people with Tourette's needs to not only be acknowledged, but understood, accepted, nurtured, and accommodated for, just like you would for any other health condition. Despite all the challenges that do come up with living with Tourette's, we just need to remember that people with Tourette syndrome are more than our condition. We're more than just people with Tourette's. We're individuals with talents, strengths, aspirations, creative ideas, and the ability to contribute to work, school, or just life in society. We should be accepting and accommodating and celebrating the resilience that it takes to live in constant worry that our tics might be misunderstood, judged, made fun of, or that people will start a confrontation about them and that might even put us into danger. We have to live knowing that we're not going to be accepted everywhere we go and that people are going to judge us before we even have the chance to explain what is going on. But as a society, we can make such a huge difference just by showing some empathy. Showing compassion and educating others about Tourette syndrome can make such a huge difference. We can increase awareness about the condition to help build a more inclusive environment for people to live with it, because it's vital to challenge the stigma and the stereotypes associated with tics and Tourette's and other neurological conditions like it, because there's a lot of misconceptions. Supporting people with Tourette's means providing access to healthcare, education, and employment opportunities by giving us the understanding and the acceptance and accommodations so we can be given the same opportunity to get the job or be in the classroom or get the grades just as anybody else would. We can create an environment where people with Tourette's can thrive, they can function properly, they can live, they can do well and succeed. We can achieve our goals and contribute to society, to classrooms, to jobs in so many different ways. We just need some accommodations to get there. Imagine a time where people with Tourette's don't have to worry. They can live without fear of being judged or shut down or laughed at for something that they can't control. We all need to stand together with the Tourette's community in the UK and globally to understand the experiences of people living with disabilities, living with Tourette's, and celebrate our strengths and the things that we can do rather than the things that our condition stops us from doing. We can all be advocates for disabled people's rights. We don't have to be disabled to advocate for people's stories, help share their stories, share the real facts about it, and break down society's misconceptions and the barriers stopping us from getting the accommodations and understanding and acceptance that we need. We can help share the stories and the awareness to build a more compassionate and an inclusive society for everybody. And breathe. I'm actually getting rather warm. I know that was heavy, but it's really important that we try to be open-minded. We try to accept people for who they are. Hey, fuck! And not judge people just on the things that you immediately see. Don't be afraid to ask questions in the comments, as long as they're respectful. And if you see somebody with Tourette's, just treat them as a normal human being. Try not to draw attention to it. Don't make them feel isolated or left out. Give them the same opportunity that you give everybody else by just treating them as a human being. I hope you learnt something from that, or I hope it was a nice refresher of disability rights or facts about Tourette's. I hope it was useful. Feel free to share it with your teachers, your classrooms, or anybody that could learn from it. There's always more awareness that can be spread, even in the workplace, even in places that might know about Tourette's. If you think it could help, don't be afraid to use this, share it, share the facts, and speak up about your story. I'll see you next week for another video, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye.